Welcome back. We are continuing on today with our Kubota Highlander Racing season previews for the 2025 year, and we've only got a couple left here. This is the final week before race week. Next week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway dirt track. I think we've got 5 more: Kasey, Kahne, Brad Sweet, Brennan Crouch, Rico Abreu, and one more that I can't think of off the top of my head. But it should be a fun week next week to get everything going, see everybody at Media Day and at the racetrack. So we'll see how this video does today. The Outlaws are running at Volusia. I'm not anticipating a ton of views on this video due to everybody watching the Outlaws on Dirt Vision, but that's all right. I enjoy putting these videos together, and I know there's a lot of you guys out there that have been religiously watching each and every one of these, and I do very much appreciate that. So today we'll talk about Kasey Kahne, the 44-year-old driver out of Enumclaw, Washington. It's a Maxim chassis, obviously driving for Kasey Kahne Racing. And the big storyline with him this year, if you did not know, is the new crew chief on the car of Eric Prutzman. Now, Prutzman, if you don't know, he is the former crew chief of Brad Sweet, who won the last 6 national championships, 5 with the Outlaws and 1 with the Highlander Racing Series. So a big move in the offseason for both the 9 and the 49 team at Kasey Kahne Racing. And this is going to be a huge year for Kasey. I'm anticipating very, very good things with that addition of Eric Prutzman. The car chief on the car is Tate Williamson, and the tire specialist is actually the 5-time Outlaw champion tire guy, Andrew Bowman. He was also on the Brad Sweet car for those years on the Outlaw Tour. So Kasey Kahne has 2/3 of the 5-time World of Outlaws championship winning team from Brad Sweet. So there's not really any weak links with this team this year, and so we will see how it goes for them in 2025. Now, speaking of 2025, we'll take a look at the schedule, and we will see where Kasey Kahne has been before and where he has won at before that's on the schedule this year. We'll start off in the Red Riding, tracks that he has not been to before. Kern Raceway in Bakersfield, California, Arizona Speedway, and then also Vado, Route 66, Dodge City, Texarkana. So like a lot of the guys we've seen so far in these videos, that first portion of the schedule is going to be a lot of tracks nobody's ever been to before. Ransomville in New York, 141 in Red Cedar, along with the Florence Speedway in Kentucky. Now, when it comes to the tracks that he's won at before, albeit it's been quite a few years since he's won at these places, Eldora Speedway, Eagle Raceway, and Lernerville Speedway are the 3 tracks on this year's schedule that Kasey Kahne has went to victory lane at before in his career. SprintCarRatings.com has Kasey Kahne as the 63rd best driver overall in 2024. So not a terrible number there for Kasey Kahne, but if the things that I think are going to happen come true, he should move into the top 50, I would think, after this year. His best 2024 stat when comparing him to the other Highlander Racing drivers, the other 16 that ran last year, he had the 10th most dash appearances at 6, and he was the 11th best qualifying average at 10.1. So looks like, those are the 2 best that he had in the back half of the field compared to everybody else. But when you put all the numbers together and things like that, those are the 2 that stand out the most. He was also 14th in the point standings last season. Now, looking at last season's numbers with just high limit, he had 51 starts with the series, 0 wins, 1 top 5, 9 top 10s, 0 laps led, a -34 of plus minus in the features, qualifying average 10.1, and the finishing average of 15.7. Now, when you look at those numbers, just broadly speaking, the finishing average is something that comes to mind that you want to see that come down quite a bit. The -34 plus minus is going to come, it needs to, I guess it would be come up a little bit more, around, at least in the positive, right? That's what you want to see. And I think that this year, those numbers are going to improve dramatically for Kasey Kahne. Now, looking at the strengths down here for him, coming into this year, I think that he would tell you, I believe it as well, and I have not been around forever, but this has got to be the best team that he's ever had. Like I said earlier, 2/3 of a 5-time Outlaw winning team are behind him this year with Eric Prutzman and Andrew Bowman, and he's had that Tate Williamson guy on the car for about a year now. So it is a very, very good team. He's got to be confident in his race car every time it hits the racetrack, not only with the speed, but, not worried about things falling off the car and braking or whatever. It's going to be a very, very fast car. Obviously, Kasey Kahne has the best equipment, Maxim chassis, Capetta engines, the same thing that Brad Sweet's been running for the last however many years it's been. Also, last year he did make the full season with Highland Racing. For the first time in his career, he did complete a full-time national sprint car schedule. And so he's tried that a couple of times, did it twice with the Outlaws, but he has had injury problems in the past. Got in a big wreck at Volusia one year, took him out for a while. A big wreck at Eldora took him out for a while as well. But last year, you could tell at the banquet how excited he was to actually make it through the entire year, be at every single race, and then be there for that banquet as a driver and get to thank all of his guys and his sponsors and stuff. So that was a huge thing for him. I think it's a confidence booster for Kasey Kahne, and I think he wants to try and do it again here in 2025. The other strength that I found for him, he had 9 top 10s last year, and 5 of them came on the smaller racetracks, the quarter miles, the 1/3 miles. Those types of racetracks seem to really suit Kasey Kahne at this juncture in his career. 5 top 10s on those types of tracks out of 9 all of last year. Another one that one top 5 came at a 3/8 mile racetrack at Lucas Oil. So I would say kind of 3/8 and lower seem to be the tracks that Kasey Kahne really is excelling at right now at this point in his career. But we have seen him do great things at the big tracks as well. He's won at Eldora. He's made the Knoxville Nationals a couple of times. And so he's not bad at all on the big tracks as well. But in the most recent season, the small tracks definitely appear to be the place that he is the best at right now. Now, moving on to the improving on section of the board. This number stuck out quite a bit to me. I didn't look at this number for every single driver for these videos, but when I looked at it for Kasey Kahne, I said, wow, that is definitely something he probably needs to work on this year, and that is the heat race plus minus. He lost 27 positions in the heat races last year, and so we mentioned over here a good qualifying average. I mean, decent 10.1 and 6 dash appearances were his best stats from last year. I think those dash appearances would have been much higher if that right there wasn't the same. Minus 27 in the heat races. I mean, you're losing a spot or two every single heat race. You're going to move out of a dash spot. You're going to move out of a transfer spot to the feature. And so I think that is something that he is definitely wanting to improve on this year. And so we will see if that is, if they can, fix that for him this season. Also, in that same breath, when you're losing 27 spots in heat races, you're going to be in more B mains, 15 B mains last year for Kasey Kahne. And so definitely want to bring that number down. And then his top 10 efficiency, meaning when he starts in the top 10, does he finish there? He had 11 top 10 starts last year, only 4 top 10 finishes. That is 36% of the time he starts in the top 10. He is able to also finish there. So definitely another number that he would like to improve on. All those numbers he's going to want to improve on. That's why I have them in the improve on section of the board. Does that make sense? So heat race plus minus, B mains, and the top 10 efficiency. Now, the prediction portion of the board, as I have mentioned for all of these videos, I'm shooting low for each and every one of these guys because I don't want to go too crazy like I did last year. For Kasey Kahne, I've got him from somewhere to 9th to 11th in the point standings. Last year, he was 14th. There was 16 cars on the tour last year. This year, we're going to have 14, but 4 guys that are going to be rookies. And so I think that he is going to be right there, maybe like right in front of those guys by season's end. But he could be 7th or 8th if they really get off to a strong start and they're gelling quickly. They ended off the year last year with a top 5 against the Outlaws at World Finals. And so they've already shown speed, and that was against a really tough field. So I think that if these guys get off to a strong start, they can finish better than 9th to 11th, but that's when I'm going to shoot low. I'm going to go with that for now. I also think that he finally gets that first ever national sprint car win. He's got the best team he's ever had behind him. I feel like he's feeling good. I listened to him on the Dale Jr. download. He does seem extremely ready to go for the season. Very excited. He's got some new sponsors on board the car. The car looks great. And I feel like he feels great as well. I mean, every time, not every time, but, going to the racetrack all the time, I always seem to see Kasey Kahne running down the highway, man, running. He just loves to run, staying in shape, and that's something that people like to point out with him. He does not age. So he's still feeling good. He's got a good car behind him, good team behind him, and he's got a good attitude. So I think this could be the year that Kasey Kahne gets that first ever win, and I don't know a single person that would be upset to see that happen. He has done so much for 410 sprint car racing in his career. When he was still in NASCAR, he was still fielding cars on the Outlaw Tour, multiple teams, sometimes 3 teams at a time. And so you cannot deny the all the things he's done for this sport. And so I think it would be huge before he retires to get that first ever national win as a driver. He's done everything else as an owner, except as a driver, he's not gotten that one win. So I think this is the year to make it happen, and I hope to see it happen as well. Also, I believe that he is going to get a charter spot secured for the number 9 car. I think one of the main reasons that he came back this year to run high limit once again was to try and secure one of those spots and look out for the future of KKR. Kasey Kahne is not going to race forever. He's 44 years old. He's probably still got a good 5 years. I don't know. I haven't asked him, but maybe 5 years left in him, I'd say. But if you get that charter spot, he decides to retire, keep the car going. He's got the guaranteed money from the charter spot, can maybe hire a young kid to get in the car and maybe find the next Brad Sweet to drive the 9 car. And then they've got that charter spot secured for years to come with high limit racing. So that is my thoughts on the prediction, my thoughts on the improving and the strengths as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Always want to hear from you guys and your thoughts on what you think about each one of these drivers. Thank you all so very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy the Outlaw race tonight at Volusia Speedway Park. Make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will be back tomorrow to talk about another driver and their season preview here on the Rodman Rundown. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.